Hi, brothers and sisters in Christ. I want to share my testimony. 2020, I fell into deep sexual sin. I have never fell into sexual sin how I did 2020. And I only fell into that sin because I wanted a baby so bad. I have two children by my ex-husband. One was conceived in marriage. One was conceived outside of marriage. They are 8 and 7. And I have been waiting 6 or so years to have another baby. And those 5 or 6 years, I was planning on paying for an IVF because I didn't want to sin, and keep having sex outside of marriage. But the beginning of 2020, it was like depression overtook me. I wanted a baby so bad. So I started listening to the people around me that told me to find a man, you don't have to pay. So I went online on some of the dating sites and I started talking to Hispanic men. And honestly, I went through a few Hispanic men. And I didn't get pregnant until the end of 2020. And what happened was I ended up miscarriaging at 5 weeks. So I went in for my daughter's appointment in November, but I actually miscarried in October. And I remember being in the doctor's office and the doctor telling me that my ultrasound didn't look right. I'm supposed to be further along and it's a possibility that I miscarried. And the whole time that he's telling me this, I feel like I'm going to faint. Like literally feel like I can't breathe. I was going to black out or pass out. But what kept me from blacking out and what kept me from passing out was I heard the voice of God basically say to me, if you feel that way about your children, imagine how I feel about mine. And instantly I was taking off what I was feeling about my miscarriage and I started thinking about what he meant because I knew exactly what he meant. Like with our children, it's heartbreaking when we lose a child in any way, shape, or form, even miscarriage. But those of us who are, saved, we have a hope that when we get to heaven, we'll see that child again. But when God said that to me, I knew that it meant that his children, like, when he lose a child, he'll never get that child back. When he lose a man or a woman to hell, there is no hope for them. There is no eventually being reunited. It's going to be eternal separation. And I just started thinking of the possible pain that he felt. But I know it had to be God speaking to me because the voice just said that, like, out of nowhere. But I've heard so many testimonies on heaven and aborted kids and miscarried babies that, I always had a hope of, in the afterlife, an unborn child being there. So, as the months went by, like I knew I had a baby in heaven. I wanted to name the baby, but I didn't know if it was a girl or a boy. I would tell my son and my daughter that they have a brother or a sister in heaven. And one day this year, my daughter asked me, I think it was like last month sometime, it was one of these months, but it was 2021. She asked me, why don't I name the baby? And I told her that I can't name the baby because I don't know the gender of the baby. So that day I decided it was that night I decided to pray. And I was just thanking God for, just how good he was. And I was thanking him that even my miscarried baby is in his arms and that he's taking care of it.
In half a mile, use the left lane to merge onto I-795 North.
And different stuff like that. That night I went to sleep and I had a dream. And in this dream, I cannot remember seeing anything. But in this dream, I remember hearing, your baby in heaven is a girl. So that was confirmation to me that my baby is in heaven and that my baby is a girl. Because God has spoken to me so many times through dreams and visions that I'm a believer. It's undeniable. And I just wanted to share that with you, and I hope it gives any woman listening encouragement that they will see their child again.